Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Rian Johnson, Rian, has come out and started talking about Star Wars again? Really quite baffling. You'd think he'd just put this to bed, not want to mention it ever again. Seemingly, he's trying to push to say, it's definitely happening. My new trilogy is definitely happening. I'm not leaving just yet. Please believe me, it's happening. So, this is interesting. I always think stuff like this is interesting. Not only does he detail, the sort of fan backlash that he had, titling it as trolling and stuff like that. Of course, it's not trolling. Most people, even fans, didn't like these films. Especially fans didn't like these films. But also details the arguments that he had with Mark Hamill. So, pretty interesting. I'm really surprised he has the balls to address this stuff, actually. Genuinely surprised. So I think first things first, let's take a look at director Rian Johnson's comments with respect to Mark Hamill, right? So Star Wars, The Last Jedi director, Rian Johnson reflects on his arguments with Luke Skywalker, actor, obviously, Mark Hamill. And these are pretty notorious. I think this is the first time that he's commented on this. I'm pretty certain this marks the first time Rian Johnson has commented on this stuff. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty certain. So, we've known for a while that filmmaker Rian Johnson and actor Mark Hamill butted heads while making Star Wars The Last Jedi, with both men clearly disagreeing when it came to how Luke Skywalker should be portrayed at this point in his life. Yeah, pretty obviously, and most people agreed as well. Depicting the Jedi Master as a broken down old man who had fled after his nephew Ben Solo became Kylo Ren, Luke did eventually find redemption in death when he inspired the galaxy. You'd think one inspiration was enough, taking down the Emperor and turning Darth Vader. But no, he needed to do more. We're not sure how they'd have found out what happened, but the insinuation was that his legend would have spread after his confrontation with the First Order's new Supreme Leader, of course. So Hamill has said that he fundamentally disagreed with Johnson's ideas for his character, and the director has now reflected on their difference of opinion while talking to Empire magazine. This is all for the new Knives Out film, or Knives Out saga continuation sequel thing. So he says this, right? I'm choosing my words carefully, not to be diplomatic, definitely. Who are you fooling? It is definitely to be diplomatic, mate. Definitely to be diplomatic. But I don't want to frame Mark's experience of this through my lens, because there's no possible way I can ever put myself in the shoes of Mark or Carrie Fisher, having lived their entire lives being known as these characters. So you're being diplomatic. Alright? And what it's like to play them first in their 20s and then to come back and play them in these movies and have a script handed to you saying, well, it's this now. I can never fathom what that experience is like. It's impossible. I mean, it's not impossible. You just have to do what they did. So if Mark Hamill is talking to me about Luke Skywalker, I'm going to listen to him. And I got to think about that and argue with him and go back and forth. You don't have to argue with people. And FYI, the actors don't always know best either. I'm not going to sit down here and say the actors know best. Actors are not, they don't always know best. Okay, they don't. In this instance, I think they probably did know best, FYI, but they don't always know best. And genuinely plumb the depths of my soul and what I wrote and figure out if this seems right. And also, though, remembering that obviously he created the character on screen, but he's Mark Hamill. He's not literally Luke Skywalker. Luke Skywalker lives as a creation on that screen. He's a myth. True, but again, being very diplomatic. And as such, he only really lives in the minds of people who listen to and in various ways believe the myth. And I know that was me. So it's complicated, but I mean, the short answer to your question is, it was effing terrifying, the director added. For all the back and forth on day one of shooting, Mark said, okay, this is the vision that you're going for, and I'm going to do the best version of that I possibly can. Basically, he sort of begrudgingly was like, ugh, yeah, fine, whatever, we'll do it. Sure, whatever. And he certainly did that. While the Rise of Skywalker attempted some level of damage control with Luke, it came across as bizarre and forced. It was. Hamill, however, has found some measure of redemption with his appearances as younger versions of the Jedi in The Mandalorian. I mean, he wasn't even there. He didn't even appear, but whatever. So, I mean, look, absolutely being diplomatic. The thing is, he's sat here saying, he didn't have to argue. Well, you didn't have to argue in the first place. It could have just been a normal discussion. Get people on board that understand the character and have an actual discussion piece with them. It doesn't have to be... It's oddly combative, isn't it? Like, Disney is oddly combative. Like, it's a case of, well, we argued. Why did you have to argue? And I get it. Like, if you've got, like, a director's... This is the thing, isn't it? You've got a director's vision, which is so quintessentially outside of what most people would have agreed was the right way forward. That's obviously going to cause friction. Just so bizarre. And can you imagine the dailies coming back from this stuff? Goodness me. So Star Wars The Last Jedi director Rian Johnson comments on the backlash he received from upset fans. Now this I thought was actually quite interesting, quite surprising, in fairness. So he says, it's been a process. At the beginning it was not easy. It was incredibly painful. Before the movie came out, if one person said something slightly snarky to me on Twitter, I felt a deep, oh my god, there's someone out there that doesn't like me, I have to fix this. I mean, he went mental on Twitter. He was having meltdowns all the time. And let this be a lesson to you, ladies and gents. And especially for those with kids, don't let them on social media. Don't go on social media. If I didn't do this channel, I wouldn't be on social media. Like, I have Twitter, @MrH and I just try and post funny stuff, or my dog. I post some stuff here and there. But if you spent your life on Twitter, rather than going outside and being like, hiya, morning, good afternoon, to all the lovely people out there in the world, admittedly, depending on where you live, some people are bumholes, but, if you just spent your time on Twitter, you'd be hard-pressed for thinking that there's anything nice in the world. This is the problem with these Hollywood types. They spend most of their time on Twitter. And Rian Johnson did just that, having, massive meltdowns on people. But he says this. So he says, in the context of social media, and maybe in the context of just being a human being in the world, it's a very healthy thing to have been put through the fire on. You could also make the argument that those nerve endings that have been seared off is a bad thing. So he's essentially trying to say that he sort of... I don't know, really. Like, he got so burned that he's like, I don't care anymore. Probably. But here's the other interesting thing. So Rian Johnson has confirmed he hopes to return the Galaxy Far, Far Away to helm his trilogy. Though if those movies shift the spotlight from established characters, he's unlikely to face the same level of backlash. So he's like, no, don't worry. Like, I am coming back. Like, I'm coming back, basically, is what he said. So, I mean, there's not much else really to go into here. I just thought it was really surprising that he would even address it. You'd think for someone that spent so much time crying on Twitter about these things that he wouldn't address it and he would just go, oh no, that's fine. And this is like a pre-done interview as well, so he had the opportunity to vet these questions. But that's about it from me. Not much else to say, ladies and gents. Leave your thoughts down below. I'd genuinely like to hear it. And side note, after this video, get off the internet, go and have a walk, go say hello to people. People are nice. Say afternoon, good morning. People will respond. There's surprising stuff. People are actually alright in the world. Take care.